Hey, it is Rashida, also known as Sheeta D. I am here this week with my wonderful guest, Libryia Jones. Hey!
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Okay, most of you guys probably already know Libryia. If you don't, you have probably been sleeping underneath, like you are in a cave under a rock in a safe, chilling. Because one of the things I love about her is her presence on social media. So Libryia goes live once a week, right? At
Yes,
least
every Tuesday.
every Tuesday on
Mhm.
IG to talk about remote work because she is the remote work queen. And that's what we're talking about today. If you're watching the replay, hey, we got a lot of good stuff for you today. And if you're not watching the replay, if you're here live, give us a shout out in the comments so we know you're here. And we know you have questions for Libryia. Go ahead and ask them. So, Libryia, I could do an introduction for you, but it would all be like, she's the best, she's the
Oh
greatest mom, traveler, guru.
no. Oh
And
man.
the people don't want that. Why don't you tell them who you are in 2 sentences?
Ooh, I am the remote work queen. I work full time as an IT project manager, but on the side, my passion is helping people land remote work. That's 2 sentences, right?
Girl, I wasn't counting. You said so. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So if you're not already following Libryia on IG, her IG is right there. Go ahead and do that because you need that info. But she gives, if you're thinking about getting a remote job, she is the person you should be following.
Thank you.
She is the one. All right.
Thank you very
Ooh,
much.
Cutie Pie. So I'm dropping her IG also in the comments so you don't have to search because who wants to do that? All right. Cutie Pie says, hello, I'm beyond excited to be here this morning. This is the largest puzzle piece missing from my exodus. All right. Oh, I should say, oops, if you don't already know who I am, I'm Rashida Dow. I am a career break coach. I help women take breaks from burnout, from dissatisfaction, and go explore the world, whether on a career break, a sabbatical, or just become, or not just, but or become expats. And the reason Exodus is a trigger here is because I am one of the founders and co-hosts of Exodus Summit. We'll talk more about that later. Libryia was a speaker last
It
year.
was, and it was so excellent. It was so
Yes.
excellent.
Yes. So we're going to talk more about Exodus later, but right now, we're talking about all things Libryia. So I wanted to start out by asking you when remote work became important to you. Was it that you got a remote job and liked the lifestyle, or were you seeking a remote job?
You know, thanks for asking that because I feel like I'm going to pick at my hair a lot. Sorry,
It
guys.
looks
I keep
great. No,
looking
you
at it.
look
It's
you
like
look
it's
good.
lopsided. I'm like, Erica Badu, you need to pick your afro, mama.
Listen, if they've seen the thumbnail for this video, they know how fly you are. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about what happens
Thank you.
live.
So, I have always had a side hustle, like always. I've always had at least 2 jobs my whole life. And back in maybe 13, 14 years ago, my daughter was 4. So 14 years ago, she's turning 18 next week. 14 years ago, I was working at Deloitte and Touche, which is a big 4 consulting firm. First like real career job out of college. But I wanted a side hustle to make some extra money. Single mom, not getting child support, nothing like that. So I was the sole source of income for myself and my daughter. And so I wanted a side hustle, part-time job. The challenge is for a lot of single moms out there, we constantly have to make a decision between finances and family, right? So if I go get a part-time job at, say, Publix or the mall or somewhere else, I'm going to lose that time with my daughter, right? And I am going to have to take the extra money that I'm making and use that to pay for somebody to keep her so I can have the second job. So it was kind of pointless for me to get a second job. And I stumbled across a part-time job doing telemarketing, which I don't know if anybody did telemarketing in college, but I feel like everybody at least had a month of telemarketing experience at some point. But there was this telemarketing company who had moved into customer service remotely. Company's name was West. And I had done telemarketing with them before and signed up to do some customer service for them. And it was remote, it was from home. So I was doing customer service. I think the client that they had at the time was Toys R Us. So I was helping people, pick out stuff from the big toy book for Christmas from home, which was great because it put me in a position where I did not have to choose finances over family. I got to choose both. My daughter was 4 years old at the time, and I got to make extra money from home. And ever since then, back then it didn't really occur to me that this was a whole world. This was a whole thing. But I landed a couple of other remote jobs, and we can talk about those as we go through this conversation. But at some point it dawned on me, like, this is the life. This is what I should be doing always. But that's how it started. Yeah.
Okay. That's actually really cool. I did not know that about you. So that is pretty cool. While we're here, I do want to say thank you to the Diasporan for dropping some cash in today. Okay. If you're watching now, there's going to be a giveaway before this is over.
Oh, really?
And if some generous people watching this live donate some cash, there may be more than one giveaway. So guaranteed at least one giveaway.
Hey.
But if y'all, any cash that comes in during this live stream will go towards a second or maybe a third giveaway as well. So we appreciate the money. Thank you very much. It's going to a good cause.
I love it.
Thank you, the Diasporan. Yes. All right. Okay. So for a lot of women commenting right now, remote, like Black Hannah, hey girl, remote work is the thing standing between them and leaving the US. Now you, while working remotely, left the US with a whole tribe, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that case, I started a digital business. I started a business that I could take with me.
Ooh.
I actually left my company at the time because they wouldn't let me work remotely. And I actually started the whole program because in my original interview, day one, I told them my intentions were I was working or interviewing with this company because they were 10 minutes from my house. And if you live in Atlanta, you're like, you know what a commute is, right? So 10 minutes from my house was golden. But B, because they also had an office in Europe and I wanted to move abroad so badly. And I told, who turned into my boss, I told him that in the interview. I want to go move abroad. I want to go work for the Europe office. Well, for 2 years, he never made good on that. Every time I asked about it, it was, pushing it back or, there was some reason why I couldn't do it, yada, yada, yada. So finally I was like, you know what? I got to go. I just need to leave because I want to go abroad. So I left the company to start a digital business, taking a group of people abroad. So while, I wasn't working remotely, I was running a business. A lot of the people that were with me were working remotely. A couple of them, 5 of them, I helped them convince their employer to let them work remotely, to go on the trip. And a few of them got remote jobs while we were gone. And then a couple of people just, they either ran their own businesses or just, had money to take a sabbatical.
Okay. So this leads me to a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's easier to generally, every situation is going to be different, but generally, do you think it's easier to convince your current employer to let you go remote and work outside of the US or get a new remote job?
I don't think one is easier than the other.
Okay.
To be honest. And you knew I was going to say that when you was asking the question, right? You knew it's coming.
Listen, I don't know because I don't.
Here's what I'll say.
You're the queen.
Here's what I'll say. Try it both. Try both, right? Give it a shot. I think one of the challenges that people have with asking the question is they assume the answer is going to be no. And my approach is ask for everything. 1. 2, if you didn't ask, you said no. You said it. They didn't say no. They didn't tell you no. You told yourself no. You told you no. You didn't. Nobody else told you no but you. So ask the question. Try it out.
Can we run that back? If you didn't ask, you said no.
Yeah.
I need y'all to take notes. We like how many of you guys don't ask, right? Like you want something and you're not asking for it. So this is a message from Libryia on this good Sunday morning. If you didn't ask, you said no. And this reminds me of something I talk about with my career break coaching clients, the ones who are like, I don't want to be in this job anymore, or I want to go whether my boss says yes or not. I'm like, if you know that if you ask them and they say no, you're going to quit, ask them anyway. Like some people are like, well, I don't want them to know. And I'm like, but you're going to leave. Like
It's happening
you don't,
either way.
you're right. You're leaving anyway. Ask the question. If they say no, leave. What?
Leave. Right.
No
And that's the thing. So here's what I always say. Like people are afraid of no, but it's just data. That's it.
Yes.
It is just information that helps you decide your next move. That's all. There is a chance that if they say yes, then you get exactly what you want. You get to maintain a position that you know well with people that you've already created a relationship with, using brand equity that you've already built at that company, right? Personal brand equity that you've already built at that company, if they happen to say yes. And I'll tell you also, there is a lot between yes and no. People don't even think about that too. So even if they say no, what if the answer is, well, maybe not indefinitely, but what about if I just do it for a year? What if I just do it for 6 months? What if I just do it for 3 months? Right? And let's test this out. There's just so much between yes and no that people don't even consider. And I'll tell you that one of the people that went on the trip with me, her employer told her no first. And she went back and she was like, well, explain to me why the answer is no. And every rebuttal that they had, she already had an answer for, right? So she was like, yeah, but these things. Yeah, but these things. Yeah, but right? So that's why I say, like, one, there's so many things between yes and no. And then two, it's just information. If the answer is no, and you were already making this plan, now you know what you need to do next. Now you know what? I need to just go ahead and apply for another job. Because this ain't it. This is not going to enable me to do the things that I want to do with my life. So it's time for me to make a different decision. It's just information. It is data.
Just information. And for a lot of us, we're really worried about holding on to jobs that we don't even love anyway. Like you don't even like that job. Like you're stressed about holding on to a job because we feel like either we need to stay in these jobs forever, right? A lot of people, the younger generation, not so much, but a lot of people do. And then the idea that you might not find anything better. It's like staying with a bad partner because you don't know what else is out there, right? Yeah. Like at least this is the devil I know. And I feel like a lot of people think that way about jobs, where it's like you could do some more explore, at least go see, like hit the job market, see what's out there. There may be something that's a much better fit for you and the things you want in your life.
Yeah. So, Agreed. And I would also suggest that if you plan to ask your employer, go ahead and start the job search before you ask too, right? Because if the answer is no, you already know that it's going to be, your departure is forthcoming. Yes. So just go ahead and set yourself up for that. And I agree with you. I think that one of the things that I hear often when we're at events and people are asking questions or things like that, people are so afraid of the discomfort that comes with doing something new and different. And I always like to call out that you are uncomfortable now. Like you're already uncomfortable. You're afraid of some discomfort. You're not comfortable with the situation that you're in now. Like you said, you don't like your job. You're living a life that you're not happy about. You feel stuck in your house. You want to get out and see the world. You're already in a place of discomfort, right? So we are designed to be able to cope. We are designed to be able to deal with things. Like if you think about all of the things that you've gone through in your life, you made it through all of that, all of it, all of it. So you'll make it through, just like you got this job, you'll get another job. Like it will happen. And if you don't, you'll create another job, right?
You will. Yes.
Right? You can figure anything out. You have figured out everything up to the point that you are at in this moment. You can figure anything out.
You can figure anything out. Let's see. I want to go back to the question list because I got a lot and I don't want to get off track. You guys, if you have questions for her, drop them in the comments. Kenyatta says, I am designed for prosperity.
Ooh, I like
I
it.
love that. Oh, wait, that's not what I was trying to do.
I saw it. It popped up.
It did. We're gonna put it back up for a second and move too fast. I'm designed to thrive from Yolanda.
I love it.
Kenyatta is my thing is moving so fast that I'm not keeping up. Y'all are in the comments.
They in
Love
these
it.
comments. I love it.
They are in these comments. Okay. Here's one that comes up a lot.
Okay.
And you're gonna know what the question is before I get to the end. I got a remote job. I got a remote job, but I haven't told my employer. Oh no, I'm sorry. I got a job. I got a remote job. I haven't told my employer I'll be working abroad. Should I tell them?
Yeah. Well, so let's start here. Why didn't you tell them, right? Are you familiar with the company's policies? There are a lot of companies that really don't care where you work from. Those are work from anywhere positions. And then there's companies that they need you to be US based because there's liability associated with having employees that are abroad. And there's liabilities tax implications associated with that as well. Also, your health insurance, all of those things are based on where you are located, right? So the taxes they pay, the taxes they take out of your check, all of those things are based on where you are located. I think it's always a good idea to be upfront and honest. What I'd say is, why have you not told them? Do you already know that they don't allow people to move abroad? Right. So get into your company's policies and get an understanding of whether or not they are a work from anywhere company. Or I said whether or not, I was about to say whether or not they're a work from anywhere company or not, but find out if they're a work from anywhere company and what concerns they would have about you being abroad. And I feel like people ask the question because they already know that answer, right? People ask the question because they know the right thing to do is to tell your employer where you are. They are hoping that we'll say, "No, you good.
No, it's fine. No,
It's fine."
I'm not going.
It's always a good idea to be honest, right? It's always a good
Always.
idea. Always a good idea to be honest, because if anything happens, they'll likely find out. You'll lose your job. They can't be a reference for you. All that kind of thing. So I'd say find out what the policy is, and then start having some conversations about where you are and why you're there and how long you plan to be there with your company. And be clear if you're maintaining a U.S. residence or a U.S. address, because that may be the workaround for the tax liability as well. And if your true desire is to work remotely abroad, start looking at companies that openly allow that. There's plenty of them out there, so that you don't have to live with this thing that you're worried about them finding out, right? So find a company that you can work for that fits your needs too.
Good. Great answer. Pause real quick. When you said it's always a good idea to be honest, I was like, she is a mother. That is such that sounds like. The way you phrased that was so like,
that was definitely motherly. Now that I think about that,
it was like, I love you, but it's always like.
But honestly, I think my feeling is like the stress that comes along with living a lie, because that's what you're doing, right? You're trying to hide something, and I'm just not good at remembering what I didn't tell somebody, right? So you're posting on Instagram, you're out in these Mexico streets, and you never know who's following that, who's seeing that, who's sharing that. So I feel like it would just stress me out more than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Where should we look for remote opportunities?
Oh, child. So many places.
So many places.
But one particular. A couple particular.
One in particular. Let's go there. One in particular.
So I have this free guide that I think you have that you've shared you're sharing the link to. So I have a free guide with my favorite places to find remote work. There's about 7 to 10 places in there. But there are, so let me back up a little bit. A lot of the job boards that we have always used, the traditional, I'll call them job boards that we've always used, now have a lot more remote jobs because a lot of more companies are going remote, right? So those have remote jobs, but there are job boards, and this is where I like to direct people to. There are job boards that are specifically designed for remote jobs. specifically designed for that. And so that free guide has those job boards that are specifically designed for that purpose. Again, free. Of course, it'll cost you your email address, right? In return for those great resources, I'm going to ask for your email address, of course. But again, there's about 7 to 10 places in that guide. And in my Remote Ready bundle, which is a course that I have, it's a course that takes you through what I call the 4 phases of landing a remote job. There's an index with 75 places to find remote work. Now, I'll be honest, you do not need a list of 75 places necessarily, right? What I share that list for a couple of reasons. I share the list of 75 places for, one, so that you realize that there are a lot of opportunities out there, and two, so you can start to find what are your favorite places out of all of those. I have my favorite places, but if I give you the full list, you can say, well, I like these websites better, and I like these companies better, right? So you can start to follow along on those. So yeah, that's where you find it.
Okay. But I feel like there's an event coming up soon
Oh yeah,
that is going to have a lot of information about remote work and maybe some people recruiting. Can
Yeah,
we?
you're right. You're right.
Have you
So
heard about that? What's going on?
I have heard about this event.
Okay.
I am
All right.
co-hosting a 3-day conference it's the biggest remote work conference for job seekers. We are bringing together HR professionals, recruiters, thought leaders, CEOs, all kinds of great people into this conference, August 19th through the 21st. And there's going to be so many great conversations around landing remote work. Like, well, we have a roundtable of expats. We have a roundtable of freelancers. We have conversations about how to get your resume, remote ready, what recruiters are really looking for. I'm looking at my list. So all these Post-its you see on the wall, those are like
I see.
conference topics.
Okay.
Those are conference topics. And we have a few focus panels about working remotely in healthcare and education and things like that. So again, the conference is the 19th through the 21st, and tickets are on sale. There's 2 levels of tickets that are available right now. One level is $50, and that's the full access tickets. And for that, you get the access to the replay. You get to do speed networking with recruiters. And there's a $125 ticket as well. And for that ticket level, we're going to match you to jobs that our recruiters are searching for as well. So I'm pretty excited about this. This is a big deal. And Rashida, I'm extremely excited about the companies that are going to be there. We've got speakers from Amazon, recruiters from Amazon, Google, Twitter, Gartner, Baker Hughes, Sonic Wall, and we're talking to Facebook and Netflix right now. I'm not necessarily supposed to spill those beans just yet, but we have some really, really great people that are going to be there. And this is just like, we're having to update the website every day just about, because we're adding such incredible speakers on a regular basis. So
okay. So
Myleek's going to be there. If you guys know Myleek, I know everybody loves Myleek. She and I have been friends for a long time. Wait, can you pause? Can you go down for just a little bit? So Myleek is the founder of Curlbox. Love her. She's been giving career advice for a long time. She and my friend Deetra Giles, who's co-hosting this with me, are doing a panel fireside chat called "I Hate My Job. Now What? So What?" Because both of them have been very, very good about being very clear that your job is your business, right? You are the entrepreneur of you. You're the CEO of you, and you need to treat your job like a business. So looking forward to that conversation. And then John Fan, that guy right there in the middle, that's my boss.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's my boss. Love that guy. He's going to be speaking about leading teams in virtual environments and things like that. So really excited. Super excited.
Okay. So I was going to ask you if in just this little secret circle that's online publicly for everyone to see, but if you had a speaker that you were most excited about, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's one of the 2 you already said. So you don't have to say anything, and we're going to move on. I'm
very excited about John speaking.
Good.
I have loved working for him for the last 3 years. He's a really great person. And so I'm very excited for him to talk about leading teams in this type of environment, especially because his situation is a little bit more unique because his team is more hybrid. So some of his team is in the office and some of his team is located in different states. And he's an
Okay.
office person. Like he likes to go to the office every week. He loves going to the office. So very, very excited to have him speak and get that kind of perspective. But yeah, the conference is again August 19th through the 21st. You can still purchase tickets. Twitter is, I didn't mention Twitter. Twitter is recruiting at the event as well. And we have some more people some more logos to add to this over the next week too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you didn't already figure it out, I am going to be giving away one ticket. What is that? It's not the 125, y'all. It's one of the $50 tickets.
I love it. I love it.
And if some of you are feeling generous to the other people in here and you want to donate some money to the cause and if it gets to 100, we'll do 2 tickets. We will make this happen. But definitely at least one. So super excited to be here with you guys. And I'm glad that you're here and you're learning about the conference. I'm seeing people excited right now. You mentioned that there will be replays available. Someone said I want to attend, but I will be at work and in the office and will miss 2 days.
Yeah.
I know that sometimes a conference, like you have to be there live. Is this one of those conferences, or do you think the talks, without being there live, the talks will be able to propel people forward?
Yeah. So there's definitely a benefit to being there live, right? Because you get to interact and network with the speakers, the recruiters as well. One of the things, it is power packed, you're right. One of the things I'll call out is one, you will get access to the replays, right? So the information you'll still receive. And the other thing I'll call out is the job fair is available all day, right? So the booths that have what these companies are hiring for is available all the way until I think 5 p.m. every day, Eastern Standard Time. So you can pop into the booth. And I'd also say, I know folks are at work. I don't know about you guys, but throw your headphones in and just turn it on one of your extra monitors at work if you're not in meetings, right? And just try to listen in to what folks are talking about. And pop over to some of the recruiter booths, maybe during lunch or later in the day, because the job fair is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can just drop in there at any time and see what these companies are hiring for.
Okay, awesome. What did I see? Rosanna said, Rashida is not open today. I am not. Y'all do not get a car. Not everybody gets one. It's not everybody's favorite thing. One ticket, unless y'all want to donate to the cause, and we can make it happen.
I love it.
Kenyatta, you asked a question, and I don't understand what. Maybe Libryia knows what you're asking. Is there a space for life coaching contracts? Should we get clarification?
I'm not sure if there are. So what she's asking is basically if she's doing life coaching, are there companies that would pay for?
Okay. Okay.
I'm assuming that's what you're asking. I'm assuming, are there companies that will contract you to do life coaching for their employees? Is that what you're asking? Let me know. I'll assume that's the question until I hear otherwise, and I will answer that. I'm not certain. That's an area that I'm not that familiar with, to be perfectly honest with you. I will tell you that, funny enough, my co-host, Deetra Giles, and she and I have been friends since, I want to say 2006. I was working at Deloitte & Touche, and I was struggling in my career, and she was in HR at Georgia State University, and she was just moving into being a career coach / life coach. And my partner at consulting firms, a partner is like the highest level. Basically, they have partnership in the company. So the partner that I worked for, he knew Deetra, had heard about her, and so he hired her to work with me as my career coach. So I'm saying all that to say, I believe it's possible, right? I just don't know enough details to provide you any guidance on that, but I think anything's possible. I don't know if life coaching would be the angle. I would probably angle it from a career coaching standpoint. If you're trying to get contracts with major companies, I'd gear it more towards career coaching. And I would also niche it out to be manager/executive coaching as well, because they want to invest in their managers, their executives, and the people that are moving up the ladder. Most companies want to invest in those people and make them great folks because they want them to be there. They want them not to go anywhere. So that's an option I throw out there without knowing a whole lot about that.
And she did confirm that was a question she was asking. So
okay, good.
Right. These questions are coming in hot and heavy.
Yeah. Here's what I'll tell you to do, Kenyatta. Reach out to, go follow Deetra Giles. It's DETHRA.GILES on Instagram. She's the one I'm talking about. She does this. And she's a coach's coach. So holler at her.
I think I just put that in the comments, but if it's spelled wrong, someone will tell me.
DETHRA. I think it's .GILES.
That's what I put, girl. We'll see. Someone will let us know if we're wrong.
They'll let us know.
One of the things I love about the squad. All right. Question from Miss J. Jontel. Will there be a list of what positions companies are looking for? I'm specifically looking for remote project manager positions.
Hey, PMs. I love my PMs. I've been a PM for a very long time. If we were just on the website, Sheeta, can you pull it up again?
I can.
Yeah, we were just on the website, but if you scroll down to the logos, under it says view open positions. It'll take you to their open positions. Additionally, yes, in their job fair, in their booths, they would have their open positions there. So yes. Long answer to you. The short answer to your question is yes.
I'm glad you answered that because I am moving as slow as possible. Trying to get this.
So if you right there.
Yeah.
So the recruiters, if you just click on view open positions or click on any of the logos, you'll go to their careers site as well.
And you're adding more logos soon because you have more companies coming to recruit.
Yeah, we have more companies that are adding.
Okay. So Libryia told me about this a while ago and I was like, this sounds good. And then I went to the website and I was like, what is happening here? How you get Twitter? What's going on? Like you,
girl, I don't even know.
Girl.
Twitter came to us. We didn't even hit them up. So I do have a partnership manager and a recruiting manager who's like reaching out to recruiters and stuff. Twitter wasn't on the list. And one day I got an email. It was like, Twitter's interested in recruiting, because you can go to the website and just click on saying, I want to recruit. And we get basically a lead email, an email that we generated a lead. And Twitter came through and I was like, oh, we made it. Shut it down. We're done.
She said, yeah, I've been talking to companies. And I was like, okay, we'll see who comes. I said, Twitter. And this is your first year? This is your first year? Legit. Yeah. This is a legit. You said the largest remote work conference?
The biggest remote work conference for job seekers. Yeah. So there's another company that does a conference called Running Remote, and they call themselves the biggest remote work conference in the world, but they are focused on people who are already remote. Okay. So a lot of times they're focused on companies that are remote and helping them, build remote teams and things like that. And so, my whole thought is, let's get people into your funnel, right? Let's get people that can be remote and can start working for remote companies. And then, then they graduate to the Running Remote conference.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, if you want a remote job because you want to move out of the US, but you're not really sure how to make that happen, your girl is here. Your girl is here. I'm going to drop a link in the comments to Exodus Homecoming, because that is, I'm sure I have this somewhere here. That is the conference or the summit that Stephanie Perry and I are putting on September 24th through 26th. I said that like it's a question. And what we're going to do there is we're going to talk to people who attended Exodus Summit last year, and they are going to, people who attended Exodus Summit last year, so not our speakers, but our attendees who took action in the last 12 months and have moved abroad based on the things, took what they learned at last year's summit and moved abroad and made changes. And moved abroad, changed their life. They're taking sabbaticals, they're expats, they are traveling with their kids, they have remote jobs, they're building businesses of their own. We're going to talk to them for 3 days about what they did so that they can help you do what they did. So we had 40 something speakers, 50 something speakers in 2020. And those speakers helped a number of women really change their lives by moving abroad. And now those women who have moved abroad and taken career breaks, taken sabbaticals, are coming back this year to tell you how they did it. So you're not going to want to miss this. Tickets are available. I dropped the link. Go ahead and click over there. Clickety-click.
That's pretty
Sign
dope.
up.
It's
going to be amazing.
Oh, dope. I love it. I love that you have the people who have done the things to come and talk. Like that's dope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to steal that from you.
So because we want people to know that it's possible.
Yeah.
Like these are people who didn't just hear it. They're people who heard the information and implemented, because we both know, and I'm actually going to ask you, I'm going to put Anita on hold for a second, but because I have a question for you. A lot of us who are sharing information online have people who come regularly and get information, but they don't take action. And so we want the people who came last year, or who weren't around last year, but who are here now, to take action, to hear from action takers and be inspired by action takers and take action this year. So now I'm flipping this back to remote work, because this is why we're here. Flipping it back. What would you say is the number one tip that you give to remote job seekers that they don't take?
Apply. Apply for the job,
really?
Guys. Like,
really? Is that simple?
Listen, I can tell you this. I cannot guarantee that anybody can get a job. I cannot guarantee that. What I can guarantee is you won't get it if you don't apply for it. Because nobody,
yourself no.
Nobody, I have not heard it yet, is coming through your computer and saying, you know what, Anita wanted a remote job. Let me give Anita a remote job. Anita, what you doing tomorrow? You want to come work for us? Nobody's doing that, right? And so I talk to people all the time. I really want a remote job because I want to travel more. I really want a remote job because I just want to be home with my kids. Cool. Did you apply for any? I mean, well, no, listen, you ain't going to get it if you don't apply for it. You just aren't going to get a remote job without applying for it. Apply for the damn job. And back to the telling yourself no. So many people are like, well, I don't meet all of the qualifications. You don't need to meet all the qualifications. You don't need to. Half the time, those job postings are templates, right? They've listed all this stuff because they feel like they're supposed to. They have boxes to fill. They listed all this stuff because they feel like they're supposed to. For instance, my company, we are a master data management company, right? And so in the job postings, and we're hiring right now for remote project managers, to my girl that commented earlier. As long as you have experience, you can work remotely. Let me say it that way. If you don't have a lot of experience, they want you to be in the office. And by a lot, I mean at least 3 years. So in there, it talks about having experience in data management and other stuff. They don't care, y'all. Those are the things that it'll be like, if this person has these things, we'd be super excited. If you don't, it's all good. And women tend to feel like we got to meet 90 to 100% of those qualifications before we start applying. And here's what's true. A lot of those technical skills that are listed, like we want you to have experience doing these technical things, they can teach you that. You can train people how to use specific systems, right? So if someone lists a system that you are not familiar with, they can teach you how to do that. It's the soft skills. Soft skills is where the money is, right?
Right.
You have great communication skills. You have great problem solving skills. You have great client relationship skills. Like those are the things that are difficult to teach people. So if you have those things, if you've got great soft skills, lean on that. You don't have to meet all the qualifications to apply for a job. Also, nothing bad happens if you apply. Girl, listen, nothing bad will happen to you if you apply for the job and don't get it. You know what will happen? The same thing that's going on today. You will continue living your life. It's all good. It took you 5 minutes to apply. You will not get the job if you don't, though. I'll tell you that.
All right. Mo Nikki has donated towards our We Sending People to the Conference Fund, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Stephanie Perry, my girl, says, apply like your name is Chad. Apply.
Chad ain't scared to apply. Chad be like,
why are you? Chad says, I don't qualify at all, but my name is Chad. Let me do this.
Chad be like, I'm a art history major, but I'm gonna apply for this developer job.
Right. Okay. So one of the things, and the reason I have it, don't let me forget about Anita though, but one of the reasons I have Libryia website up here is I want you all to remember that there are resources available. Like if you're looking for a remote job and you're here, you've probably heard of Libryia Jones before. Have you poked around on her website? Are you going to her live streams on Tuesday evening on Instagram? If you're not, are you really as interested in a remote job as you say? Or do you want one to fall in your lap? Because what Libryia said before reminded me of how I am on these dating sites. These men's ain't gonna come through the screen, but I'm not opening the app because I open it and I'm like, listen, I open the app and I look at them and I'm like, nah, I don't have the strength. I just don't have it in me. And so I'm single, right? I am not doing the work. And so I am sleeping alone.
We could have a whole nother lab about that topic alone.
Right.
But I agree. And I had to have the same conversation with myself a little while ago. And I was like, do I really want to date? Because I'm not acting like I want to date. And then I started acting like I wanted to date. And guess what I started doing?
You started dating, girl?
Yeah. So I do quarterly. If you follow me, you know I do quarterly goals. I do. And last quarter, I had a goal to go on 5 dates. I think I went on 7 dates. This quarter, my goal is, I'm looking at my goal sheet. Hold on. This quarter, my goal is 7.
Okay. In the last 12 months, I've had a goal to go on 0 dates, and I've gone on 0 dates.
Good for you. Good for you.
So, what I should have said is I didn't have a goal to go on dates. Yeah. So if you don't have a goal number of jobs you're applying for, are you applying for enough jobs, right? Like, right. So how many jobs are you going to apply for this month? How many jobs are you going to apply for this quarter? Write a number down.
Yep.
Bringing this back to my girl Stephanie again, she says, if it's not in your calendar, it's not going to happen. So put it in your planner. Pick a time. Pick a weekly time. So 2 hours on Tuesday night. You're watching Libryia and you're applying while you're watching her on IG. Do something like that. Put it in your calendar. Make getting a remote job as much of a priority in your actual life as it is in like your dream life. Like you want it, right? You want this to happen, but take the action to make it happen. So get to Libryia's website, get her free guide, get her remote ready bundle, which I'm going to link to again, because you can make it happen, but it's not like Libryia said, they're not going to climb through your computer. And apparently, as I have learned, the men's aren't going to crawl through the phone to get.
I do miss when we just met guys at grocery stores,
child,
and gas stations.
I'm wondering if it's like age or a different time. I don't know what it is, but
we're in a different time. We're just in a different time. I've actually heard people say that they were afraid to talk to somebody in person because they hadn't swiped right on them or something on Tinder. It was weird. I was like, but you're not your profile. Anyway, I'm glad that you mentioned the whole quota and scheduling time. That is one of the very first things that I talk about in the Remote Ready Bundle. Thing 1, go ahead and schedule some time, 30 minutes, 3 days a week. Just sit down and start to look at applications and apply for them. And I had a quota when there were a couple of points in my life where I was unemployed. And I had set a quota to apply for, I think it was like 100 jobs a week or something like that. It takes on average, guys, so not exact number, but on average, about 90 days for people to get hired, right? To find a new job and get hired. On average, it takes 90 days. So you're going to have to employ some patience and some perseverance and some endurance. It's an endurance play, right? And you're going to have to be going after it. I always say, like, if you're trying to get a remote job, looking for a job is now your part-time gig. Like, that's now your side hustle.
Okay. So I want y'all to be honest with me in the comments, whether you're watching the replay or watching it live, get to type in right now. Have you been as aggressively seeking and applying for jobs to match your like yearning for a job? So are you actually doing the work as much as you're wanting it? Go ahead, tell me, yes, I'm doing the work, or nah, sis, I've been chilling. Go ahead, click it, clack it out, type it in, let me know. And while we're doing that, I kind of want to know what is going to happen if I click work with me. How do
Oh,
you
that's
work with
really for
people?
brands.
Ah,
If you go there, it's going to take you to like my media, the
media kit. Okay.
hey, I got street cred in these internet streets. You want
So
to
you're
hire
not
me to
working
speak?
one-on-one with job seekers.
No, I
Okay.
can't, I don't have the time, which is why I started doing the Tuesday Q&As.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing live Q&As on Tuesday because I don't really have time to work one-on-one with people. I enjoy doing it. I've done it for a few of your people, Sheeta, and it's an enjoyable experience. It also is very taxing and time consuming though. But I am soon here. You heard it here first. Breaking news. Going to be rolling out an academy program where people can join, and it's a monthly subscription. You stay in it as long as you need to, and if it's no longer serving you, or you have gotten a job and it's served its purpose, you can cancel. But basically, in that group, it's going to be, I'm going to spend more time with that group of people. We'll do weekly lives with me. We'll do a weekly live with some career coaches, and then we'll do monthly lives with some recruiters to kind of introduce you to recruiters and things like that. So I'm trying to find ways to be able to give people more of my time personally without having to do the one-to-ones. But I do often recommend career coaches, resume writers, interview coaches that do one-to-one sessions. And as part of that academy, we will have those experts available at a discounted rate. So we'll get a special rate for their services as well. So that's coming. I'm trying to launch this on my birthday, which is September 25th.
Okay. All right. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about Okay, so let's not forget Anita's question. Will there be jobs available for older employees at the Quit Commuting Conference?
Yeah, so I'm going to toss this back. I don't understand what that means, because I don't think that there are jobs specific that are age specific, right? So there are jobs that are experience specific. There are jobs that are skill specific. There are not jobs that are age specific, right? So as long as you can use a computer, which you are doing because you're on here, right? You have the skills to do a remote job. So really my question back to Anita is, what's your skill level? What's your experience? What's your background in? Because none of these jobs should be or are age specific. So okay. Come back to me, Anita, and I should have said this earlier because we had a whole lot of time for Anita to come back. Come back to us, Anita, and tell us what your background is in. And I can tell you if there are remote jobs for your background, because that's the question you really want the answer to.
Okay.
And then Monique says she's been applying for remote jobs for almost 3 years and worked on behalf of Microsoft for 7, no success. So usually if you're having trouble doing something with no success, you've got to look at your process, right? So it may be time to step back and say, is my resume right? Right? What am I putting in these job applications? What am I putting in my cover letter? How is my interviewing skills going? How are my interview skills going? So there's people that can help you with all of those things. Obviously, the Remote Ready Bundle is one of those things that can help you with that. But I'd also challenge to say, Monique, what are the steps in the process that you can tweak to change the outcome? Because if you've worked for Microsoft, and I'd love to know what you did for Microsoft. Microsoft also has remote positions as well. So if you've been working for Microsoft, have you been looking at remote positions at Microsoft? Because they do have them. But yeah, I'd love to know from you, what parts of your process have you tweaked? And not just for yourself, but have you said, well, let me lean into some of the professionals out there who can create a resume for me, or some of the professionals out there who can coach me through the interview process. The other thing I'd say is, a lot of times people miss the power of networking as well. Because like I said, you've been working for Microsoft, and Microsoft has remote positions. In fact, I actually want to see, Microsoft has remote positions as well. So who are you talking to at Microsoft that can help you get your foot in the door in that regard? And other companies that you're thinking about working with, have you checked to see who is in your network at those companies as well, right? And even if they're not in your network, one of the things that I'm pretty good about is, let's say I want to work for, so you're worked at Microsoft. Let's say you want to work at Cisco, right? Cisco has remote positions as well. I'm going to go on LinkedIn and say, I'm look at Cisco and look at people that work there. And I'm going to look for people that worked in this, not recruiters. You can do recruiters, but recruiters get a lot of inboxes. Recruiters are like Instagram models, man. They get all the inbox, they get all the DMs, and they're ignoring all the DMs. So, because they're basically like Instagram models, everybody's trying to slide up in their DMs, right? So I would go look at Cisco and I would look for people that are in the same role that I want to work in. And I would hit them up and say, hey, I'm thinking about, joining Cisco as well to do the type of work you're doing. Can you tell me about work? Do you enjoy working there? Right? What do you think about working there? Yada, 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 to get the conversation going. And if they respond, then you can go back and say, well, would you mind looking at my resume? And if you think I'm a good fit, would you mind sending it over to the hiring manager? Or you can ask them, do you guys have an employee referral program? And if so, would you mind looking at my resume? Because it's a win-win if you get hired, right? You get a job, they get a bonus. So I'd also encourage you to use networking. Lean on networking. I feel like, honestly, every good job I've had, I got it because I knew somebody, because I use my network.
Mm-hmm.
To be perfectly honest with you, I always lean on the network. And I'm not saying that's the only reason I got it. I'm an excellent interviewer. I have a sexy background. I worked at Deloitte. I worked at Home Depot. I got big box retailer and Big Four consulting firm on my resume. And I have really great experience, but my foot got in the door because I knew people, because I networked. Okay. And I think people miss that networking piece quite often. So all that to say, Monique, I don't know if you are or not doing those things, but if you are not, those are the things that I'm going to tell you to start with. Like, look at where you can tweak the process, right? Lean on Microsoft as an option, unless you just don't want to work there, or companies like them. And then, get that network popping. Go and dust that network off.
Okay. One thing you say, so there are a couple questions about the Academy in the comments. I don't know if you're ready to talk about it, but sure. Is there
you guys are about to help me design it, I feel like. Let me write some things down. Hold on. Go ahead.
Can people sign up for the wait list? Is there a wait list?
There is not, but I was considering doing pre-registration for it, but I honestly have not started creating any of that. But yes, we'll create a pre-registration for it.
And I'm going to say in advance that if you go get her free guide, even if you don't need the free guide, but you want to be on the Academy waitlist, get the free guide, because she's going to email people about it, and she doesn't have your email. If she doesn't have your email address, if she's not emailing you now, then she can't get you that information. So go get the free guide, and then when there is a waitlist or pre-registration, you'll be the first to know, right? That's right?
Yep. That's right.
Okay. Someone asked about the price. Not to put you on the spot, hate to do that, but it was a question.
Pricing has not been defined yet. It will be affordable. My market is, people who a lot of times are unemployed, right? Unemployed or underemployed. So I typically try my best to be affordable, which is why it will be, a monthly subscription. Just know it won't be an outrageous amount. It'll be something that's very value driven and affordable. Okay. But price is not set yet.
Okay. Now, I know you give a lot of advice about remote work. There's one thing you say that makes me want to bang. I'm not even a job seeker, but I hear it and I'm like, F you, Libryia. Like, stop telling me this. I don't want to hear this.
Uh-oh.
Not that it's not excellent advice, but I don't want this part of your excellent advice. It's that we are out there, the general we, sending out stale resumes, and we need to be updating our resumes for the jobs we want. Every time you say that, I'm like, girl, that's so much work. Like, can't they just look at me and know how amazing I am and just hire me? Like, but every time I hear you say it, I'm like, girl, for real.
Real talk. So what I say is, don't sling stale resumes. That's what I call it. Right. And I always tell people, they gave you the game in the job posting. There's keywords that they put in that job posting. And if you don't have those keywords, you're not showing up in their search at all. And And so you have a templated resume. And all I'm saying is before you submit the job, just, eyeball it. Instead of saying budgets, they said financials. I'm changing budgets to financials. Instead of saying customer relations, excellent at customer relationships, they said excellent communication skills. I'm changing customer relations to communication skills, right? So it's just that. It's just making these small tweaks.
Okay.
And what I always tell people to do is look at the things they've mentioned more than once. If they mentioned it more than once, it's important to them, right? And look at the things that just strike you as this is very important for this role. If I were hiring for this role, these are the things I'm really looking for, right? These are the words I'm really looking for. And so I'm just saying, pick 3 or 4 keywords and just go and make the tweaks to your resume before you submit it. It should take 10 minutes. Like, it's not that. Okay. I'm not saying go create a whole new resume at all.
All right. I hear it and I'm like, screw these jobs, right? I'm always like, that's a lot of work.
I also really say that for the positions that you care about, like you really care about. Because let's be honest, like some of these positions, you're like, I would love to. I'd take this job. But the positions that you care about, that you're like, oh my God, I would love this position. This would be it for me. Spend the time. Take the time.
Do that. Okay.
Take the time. Adjust your resume. Go network. Like, do all the things for those positions. But know this. If you are just submitting stale resumes, it may end up being a waste of your time, because on the other end, those recruiters are getting those resumes through something called applicant tracking system. And it's basically a database, right? It's pulling information. It's pulling all of the words that are in your resume. And 2 things will happen. Either one, that system is going to compare your resume to the job posting, and it's going to give you a rating. It's going to say this person's a good fit, because the system doesn't know how to read your resume and glean what it means. All it's doing is matching words. That's it. Mm-hmm. Right? The second thing is, when they're getting thousands of applicants, they're just going to do a keyword search and see what pops out. Right? And they're not searching for your keywords. They're not sitting here like, well, she'd have probably put this in her resume. Let me use that as a keyword search. They're saying, these are the job description the hiring manager told me was important. Yes. This is what I'm going to search for. So it's almost a waste of your time. Not almost. It is a waste of your time if those keywords are not in your resume. Okay. It is a complete waste of your time, because you're not even going to show up on their radar.
Okay. And I know for a lot of us Black women, we tend to undersell ourselves, right? Like we might be amazing, but we expect our magic to just shine in person. But if you're not getting the resume through the door, there's no shining in person part of it. And so your resume, like, chat the hell out of your resume, like get in there and be like, this is like, basically tell them why they should hire you in that resume. Like, let them know that you can do the job, even if you're not 100% qualified for it, right? Like, even if you're not, go ahead and like put the words in that best reflect the ways in which you are. Like, I'm not saying lie to them, but best reflect the ways in which you're.
And you don't have to lie. Like, here's the thing. Like you said, a lot of us downplay our greatness. But you know what Black women do well? We are cheerleaders for our homegirls. Like, we will brag on our homegirls like it's by the time they explain to you how dope their homegirl is, you're like, so your homegirl's Oprah then. Right? It gotta be. It's gotta be. About yourself like you're your homegirl. Like, when you get ready to write your resume, you're not talking about you. You're talking about your homegirl, right? Okay. Thing 2, this is not the time to be timid, modest, or bold. Or timid or modest. This is the time to be bold. You need to use bold action verbs. I created, I developed, I accomplished, I, reduced, things like that. And I think the mistake that a lot of people make is they just list out the tasks, right? So as a project manager, I manage project budgets. I manage meetings. Duh, that's what project managers do. I don't need to list that out. That's what project managers do. So I usually recommend that people lean more heavily towards sharing their accomplishments, right? Mm-hmm. So even if you manage project budgets, of what size? I manage project budgets of $16 million, $15 million, $50 million. Let's say that you you review contracts, right? Even if your company had a quota, like you're supposed to review 25 contracts a week, say that. Say that you effectively reviewed 25 contracts a week, right? List out your accomplishments. Lean more towards listing accomplishments versus tasks, because that calls out how effective you are.
Mhm.
And if they are truly your accomplishments, it's not even you bragging on yourself. It's not even you making something up. You're just talking about the stuff that you did. That's it, right?
Okay.
You're talking about the stuff that you did. Um, I was working in a position that I kind of hated. But in that position, I developed a new reporting tool that took us from manually building a report that took us 2 days to it being an automated report that took us a couple of hours. You best believe I put that on my resume. You best believe I put on my resume that I reduced processing time or reporting time from 2 days to 2 hours by creating this report. And a lot of us have done things like that. And even if
Mhm.
it's a part of your job, even if it's one of the tasks of your job, like you're supposed to take 100 calls a day, right? Even if it's part of your job, rather than saying, I take customer service calls, I effectively, or I keep saying effectively, but effectively process 100 customer service calls a day. Change it from just being a task to being an accomplishment and throw numbers in there. People like numbers. They love to see the numbers. Okay. It can be a number, it can be a dollar amount, it can be a percentage. Throw your accomplishments in there. Let's move away from tasks and more into accomplishments. Talk about you like you talk about your girls.
Can we take a moment and thank Libria for this good advice? Because I feel like if you leave here and you do not have a plan to either update your resume regularly, to start looking for jobs and start applying for jobs, you don't really want a remote job.
Yeah.
Like you gotta, like, she is giving you the game right here, giving it to you. Y'all got to take it. Okay, I'm gonna leave this question for you. What are the most common job types or positions that are available remotely? I think you probably get this one a lot.
I don't. You
You
know what I get
don't?
a lot? I'm gonna tell you
What?
what I get a lot. I'm gonna assume that there's something behind this question, right? What I get often is most remote jobs I see are tech jobs.
Okay.
So people assume that the most common remote jobs are technical jobs, and that is a whole lie.
So
It's
your
like
first remote job was a customer service job,
my
right?
first remote job was a customer. I've yet to work. I'm not technical. I am
All
not a
right.
technical person. I don't develop nothing. Am I allowed to curse on here?
You are.
Okay, good. I
You
don't
are.
develop. I've been trying really hard not to this whole
No,
time.
baby,
I
go
don't
ahead.
develop
We do
shit,
whatever we
y'all.
want.
I don't. I have not written one line of code. Well, a couple of times just because I wanted to play around. But I don't. I'm not technical. Most remote jobs are not technical. There are more non-technical remote jobs than there are technical remote jobs. And I always tell people, let's just say, let's just say that only tech companies were hiring remotely. Guess what the tech people at those tech companies are not doing? They are not recruiting. They are not doing their accounting. They're not doing their HR. They're not managing their own projects. They're not doing their own sales. They're not doing their taxes or legal. They need you. They need all of the people that do all of those other things. So I'd say most common remote types of remote positions that are available are non-tech positions, and they're all over the gamut. I've seen positions in marketing, healthcare, education, project management, design, attorney jobs. There's so many legal positions open. Oh my goodness. Um, I said healthcare already, right? So nursing, and when I say healthcare, I mean nursing, I mean mental health, therapy, I mean even doctors, and then the administration side of healthcare as well, and medical writing. Um, yeah, I mean, I can't. There's very few positions I can think of that I've never seen a remote job for.
Okay.
Very few.
All right.
So,
You
Monica,
know,
question back to you: what type of job do you do? And why don't I tell you if your job is remote? How about that?
mm, okay. All right. And thank you for the money that is going towards buying someone a ticket. We are $35 short of buying our second ticket.
Ooh, I like it.
$35 short. And the tickets are going to
Very
go to
cool.
someone who's live here. So, you
Awesome.
know, this is this is our community project for the day.
I
It
like
takes
it.
all
I
of
like
us.
this group
Yeah.
project. Best group
Love
project
a group
ever.
project. Love a group project. Love a group project. When we all do the work. Okay.
Right.
So I had a whole list of questions that we have not gotten to, but some of
Okay.
them have already been asked. One that I am actually curious about is, do you see a difference or in the market generally? Is there a difference in pay for remote jobs versus non-remote jobs?
Can I tell you a story? Let me tell you a
Yes.
story. Um, I was I was working remotely, not working remotely. I was working in an office every day, going to the office. I just not maybe about a year in, been promoted to manager, finally crossed over. I'm about to tell y'all my business. It's fine. Crossed over into making six figures in my career. And my one of my friends, he worked remotely. He had been working remotely for years. Um, and he was like, "You should come work for my company. They're always hiring remote project managers." And I just kept ignoring him because I was like, there's just no way somebody's gonna pay me six figures to like sit at home and do this. Nobody's doing that. Nah, I'm good. So for months, I put him off. For months, I put him off. For months, I put him off. And then when I realized that I wanted to leave my company so that I could be remote and I could travel more, I hit him up and I was like, you know what? I realized that I made the assumption that I wouldn't get paid as well. Maybe I should just ask you, what's the salary range for your project managers? So he told me, he was like, let me go ask and I'll let you know. And so I still have the messages. He sent me a Google chat message and the range was more than I was making already. Like, what? So I had decided. I had
You
decided
told
and
yourself
assumed,
no.
right. I had decided and assumed that I would make less if I was working remotely and I end up making more. Um, so all that to say, no, I don't see a disparity in remote pay versus in-person pay. That has not been my experience. Um, I'm sure there are some companies that, depending on location, um, where you're located, they're probably going to pay less. So some companies they focus their pay based on where you live and where you're located, right? So they make cost of life adjustments based on where you live. But for the most part, I'd say it's no different than in-person jobs. Some companies pay more, some companies pay less. Like it's just in general. If you were going into the office to work for Deloitte versus a boutique firm, their pay structure is going to be different, right? If you were going to the office to work for a major organization like the Home Depot versus, doing that same job for a small startup, their pay structure is going to be different. And so just want to throw this out there. The difference in pay structure is not about remote versus in the office. The difference in pay structure is about company to company, just like it is for any job, right? Just like it is for any position. So it's going to be based on what the company's bands are. And sometimes it will be based on your geography as well.
Okay. The money has been flowing in since
Hey,
I said that.
come through
I,
coins.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. We're going to give a giveaway. I promise you before it's over. I think we're definitely at least 2 tickets to the Quit Commuting Conference. I am so proud of y'all for coming in and supporting each other because this is how we make it happen. So if I didn't thank you already, Anita, Miko, Miss J, Jontel, Steph, Monique, and some people up, Wendy Cooper, some people up above who gave early, and I thanked you earlier. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Because like if I was looking for a job right now and I'm not because I don't like humans like that, I would want to be at this conference because I wouldn't, the way my life is set up right now, I can't imagine going back inside an office. Like just the thought of it is kind of
No, I
depressing.
can't.
And so,
I
child.
don't even know. Like, I don't see it happening for me ever.
I don't.
Like, when I was in Atlanta, I would go to the office every couple of weeks because I'm just very social. I like to hang out with my coworkers. I truly enjoy spending time with my coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would go in the office and hang out with them. But those are days where I'm like, I know I'm not getting any work done
Mhm.
because being in the office is too distracting. There's too many people to talk to. There's too much going on all the time. Um, and so I'm just more productive at home. Oh, thank you, Dory. I love you too. I'm just much more productive at home, and I'm a happier person when I can
Mhm.
choose my environment. And so for me, it's not just about working from home specifically. For me, the lifestyle is about choice and
Mhm.
options. It's about me choosing where I work best on any given day. On any given day, I can say, I want to work right here in my home office, or I want to work in my dining room, or I want to go to a co working space. I want to go to a friend's house. I want to go to Mexico. I want to go to the office. It's really for me about it being my choice.
Okay. Okay. I at the last job I worked on the fifth floor. My boss worked on the fourth floor. I worked for a big tech company as a
Mhm,
lawyer. It was not a remote position, but my boss would come because I was embedded in a team and I was
mhm.
the only lawyer on that team. And so it was very like, it was me and like the tech bros. Um, and a couple other people, like two of like paralegals. Um, my boss would come up to a floor with a meeting with managers, walk right past us, like he had never seen us before, go to a meeting and walk right out, and that would be the only time I would see him that day. I eventually had to stop showing up. Like, why?
Why
Like,
am I here?
this is not a remote job, but if you don't even
Know that I'm
acknowledge
here.
my existence, if you can go all day long without being like, hey girl, I'm checking, you work for me, and so I'm checking in. If you can physically walk past me and not even like there's no beef. We have a fine working relationship.
Right.
We're just not of the mindset that like acknowledging me as a human is important. Then why would I don't need to be here. I could be in so many other places. I was like, why would I
Yeah.
show up to the office if you can literally walk past me like I don't exist? I don't need I was sir, that's not
I've had so many of those. So my other problem with being at the office is this constant expectation that you look busy.
Mhm.
I happen to be a very efficient person. I get things done really fast. And so a lot of times I'll get my work done and then start working on my own stuff, right?
Mhm.
And the idea that if somebody walks by, I got to pretend like I'm doing work.
Mhm.
It's just crazy. Like I'm an adult. Why are we doing this?
Mhm.
If I can get up and get most of my work done, if I can get up and get my work done within the first 2 hours of my day and just do
Yeah.
meetings, and in between that, I can do whatever I want. That's a better environment. Like I'm a happier employee. I'm still efficient. I'm still effective, right? But sitting at the office and people walking by and you got to pull your TPS report back up. Like
Right.
it's just silly. I thought where you were going with this example was an example that I had working at another company where the manager cared so much about what time you showed up and what time you left. So he would like walk by to see who was at the office by 9 o'clock, and he would walk by to see who had left by 5. It's like, why do you care? Am I getting my work done? Am I effective? Is my output good? Is there high quality output? Am I doing the things that you hired me to do? I, my team, I personally don't care when you get your work done. You show up for your meetings, right?
Mhm.
But if you are more effective and productive early in the morning or late at night, by all means, do your work when you do your work. As long as we meet our
Mhm.
deadlines, as long as you show up to client meetings, I'm good. I don't care what time you clock in and clock out. I really don't.
I had a coworker who tried to do that to her peers on the team.
Huh? What? Peers.
She was going to go because we had to scan in and out. We were in financial services. We had to scan in and out of the building.
Peers.
She used to work in HR before she was on our team, and she said
Mm.
she told someone that she was going to HR to get specifically mine, but I don't think only my badge when I was badging in and badging out.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
She left the company shortly after.
I mean, she had
Because
to, because somebody was gonna meet her in the parking lot with some Vaseline on their face.
listen, there was an investigation. And when the investigator got on the phone with me, he was like, "Would you describe her as a workplace bully?" And I was like, I hadn't thought of her in those words, but yes, sir.
Since you mentioned it.
Since you mentioned it. And then there was an investigation and she was no longer there. Because my boss was
Wow.
like,
Somebody must have filed a complaint.
I called my boss. She was actively trying to go after. We had a boss who left. And so there was an open position. And she thought she was the natural person to fill the open position. So she started acting like our boss. But we had like a US manager. And instead of going to him and being like, I don't like the hours where she is coming to work, which were the same hours I was coming to work when I had an actual boss in the office, she took it upon herself to try to regulate me.
But that's just not even the right way to go about this whole thing.
I called our big boss and I was like, so looks like there's going to be a problem. It would be great if you intervened. He intervened. There was an external law firm called in. There was an investigation. But the thing is, like, you hear investigation and people are asking around about your work. Like, so now the investigation is about my work habits. Like, am I being shady at work? And the answer was no. The answer was, she's a workplace bully. Like, I am doing the same thing we've always been doing when our old boss was here. We're doing the exact same thing. Nothing has changed. But she wasn't here then. She came in right when our last boss was leaving. And so she took it upon herself because she thought she was going to get that job. She said, when I see a power vacuum, I have to fill it. No, the fuck you don't. You could literally just mind your business.
So I think some people's approach is just so interesting. Like, if you want to get promoted to be the boss of this group of people, your best bet is to make these people your allies. Right? That's your best bet. Your best bet is to do two things. One, make the people that you want to manage your allies. So become a servant leader to that group of people. That's thing one. Thing two, manage the person that's above it. Right? So manage up. Make them look like a rock star. Do whatever it takes to make their job easy and make them look like a rock star. Make everybody look great and you're in. But like, your answer is, let me alienate.
Let me alienate. So she alienated the whole team because it was things like we're totally off topic. She would send, but like toxic workplaces. She would send an email at like 9 p.m. at night and say, I want you all to have read this and be prepared to discuss it at our 9 a.m. meeting, and then put a 9 a.m. meeting on the calendar.
No. Decline. No.
And this is in like her first 2 weeks on like coming back. She'd been there, left, came back. This is like her first 2 weeks back. I called the big boss like, so, hey, do you know what's happening over here? You know, you're not in this office, you're in a different location, but yeah. So all that to say, toxic workplaces happen. Yeah. I don't know how we got down this tangent of like, this is something that has like scarred me about working with humans. Because I truly was like, trying to see when people come into the office. You want to know what time I use? You're going to go to HR and ask them what time I bet.
That's so crazy. So I'll say this to bring it back. I'll say this for any of you that are basically in a position where you want something from the company. Your best bet is to have allies. And even when we talked earlier about convincing your employer to let you work remotely, the best way to get something that you want from your company, whether it be a new job, a promotion, a raise, to work remotely, is to have champions, to have people that will speak on your behalf, because more often than not, you're not going to be in the room where the decisions are made, right? And so you want to have people that are going to speak very positively about your work ethic, what you do, and why you should be allowed to do whatever it is you're asking for, right? And so, you know, here's a great example of, if she really wanted that position, her best bet would have been to turn everyone into her champion, right? To create allies and to build a brand that people are willing to go and speak for and speak on behalf of. Because the decision to promote her and the decision to get rid of her were conversations that she was not in the room for. So
Mhm.
you catch more flies with honey, folks.
Mhm.
Whether
Mhm.
it is a promotion, whether it's a raise, or whether it's I want to work remotely. If you don't currently have a champion where you work today, if you John Fan is my champion. We talked about John speaking at the
Mhm.
event. If there's anything that I want at my company, if there's anything I want to be able to do, I know that John is going to be in that room speaking on my behalf. And a champion, let me give you guys an example of what a champion is. If anybody watches Game of Thrones, right, or shows like it, what happens is if somebody challenges you to a fight to the death and you're not able to fight, you can name a champion to fight in your place, right? And so the same thing happens in the workplace. You're not going to be in the room where the decisions are made. I don't care what your level is, you will not be in the room when the decisions are made about you, right? And so you cannot fight. You need someone to fight on your behalf. And so that champion can be a boss, it could be a mentor, it could be, whatever, but that person has to have a few things. One, have to have influence. So they have to be able to influence people and get buy-in. And they have to be able to either be in the room where decisions are made or they have to have connections to that person. And what you want to do if you don't have a champion now is to find you one, identify somebody at your company that can be your champion. Again, it does not have to be your boss, but it cannot be your homegirl. It cannot be the person that you catch up with about what happened on Real Housewives of Atlanta or, Basketball Wives. It's not the person that you talk about Cardi B beefing with Nicki Minaj. Like that's not the person. It's got to be someone that is above you and can make some decisions. Hey, Celeste. So if you don't have it, go identify that person and then start to have regular meetings with them. Go ahead and start meeting with them one to one, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever the case may be, and start talking about the things that you're doing, the things that you're thinking about for your career. So I keep calling John my boss. He's actually not. He used to be. John used to be my boss. John is now basically my champion. I meet with him. He's not my boss anymore, not directly, but I meet with him every 2 weeks just to talk about what's going on with me, what I'm trying to do, what I want to do. And here's what I know because of that. If there's a meeting with the leadership team and they're talking about something that I want or something that I've done, like the conversation about me moving to Tulsa came up in some meeting that I was not in, right? And some people may have been like, well, she's moving to Tulsa, so she's not going to be coming into the office anymore at all. They're like, he was like, y'all know she hasn't been coming to the office for years, right? Like she just stops by because she likes to. So John is speaking those things on my behalf, right? And so it's important to have a champion. It's important to have people that will speak on your behalf. And that young lady went about it the entirely wrong way. She should have turned you into her champion. Because you have just indicated in the conversation that you telling us this story, you have a connection with the big boss. You have influence with the big boss. You are the person she should have made her champion.
And the thing was, we all had connections to him, but she went around him, and I went directly to him because I know who signs that check.
That part,
right?
Y'all better have y'all some champions.
Better have some champions. And you know what? I don't even think at first we're gonna get away from my trauma in a second. But honestly, like how some of these people are. The man was not as offended for how she was going after me. He was offended that she was going around him.
Yeah.
And that was the thing where he was like, this is unacceptable. Like she didn't come to me. She was going to HR. That was the thing that had him riled up. And I was like, she's trying to get me fired. That's not really the problem. But
people are naturally predisposed to care about themselves.
Yes.
Naturally, right? That is the natural and predisposition. The whole caring about other things. That's where we take it a step above.
Listen. Okay. We have talked about remote work for 1 hour and 24 minutes.
Oh, wow.
We are in it. I felt like 45 at the most. But I can't let Libryia go. I can't keep her all day, but I can't let her go without talking about her move to Tulsa. So we are going to talk right now about how Ms. Libryia Jones got paid to move to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and how there are ways that you can get paid to move to cities that are Tulsa or other cities. There are other cities that this program or types of programs like this exist in, and
Yep.
so we're going to talk about that. You applied for Tulsa Remote, which is a program that encourages remote workers to move to Tulsa, right?
Yep. So the really cool thing is a lot of smaller towns in the US have identified that, you know, people are living in these major cities, San Francisco, Oakland, um, Austin, New York, LA, and spending tons of money. And a lot of these people, work from laptops, So they have had the genius idea, and Tulsa Remote was one of the first ones. And it was pre-pandemic. Some of them started during the pandemic, but this one was pre-pandemic. Tulsa Remote, some folks in Tulsa and a very wealthy man whose last name is Kaiser, had this great idea to create this incentive program to get people to pick up and move to I guess we can call it middle America, but small town USA, where the cost of living is a lot less expensive. And basically you have to work remotely to do the program, and you have to stay here for a year. You have to live in the city limits, and you have to live here for 1 year, and they'll pay you $10,000. And I do have a blog post where I shared a number of different programs and a website that keeps up with these programs as well on my blog. But yeah, Tulsa was the one that made the most sense for me. So there's a program in Michigan. There's a program in West Virginia. Arkansas has a program as well. The main program, they've used up all their funding. Savannah had a program as well. But the Tulsa program made the most sense to me just because I had friends here already. So that's why I took advantage of this one.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the application process and what it has been like to move to Tulsa, because you bought a house when you moved, right? Was that a requirement from the program?
No, you don't have to buy a house. It just made sense to me to do that because that $10,000 would have basically taken care of the down payment, right? And then if they're constantly bringing people into the city, those people are going to need somewhere to live. And so I was thinking, well, I can stay here for a year, and then when I move out, I can rent it out to the next Tulsa Remoter. And a lot of people have taken advantage of that option. So let me start with the application process. So there's an application on here somewhere. Apply now is at the blue button. And it's going to ask you a few questions, just kind of about your background, what you do, where you work, what your income is. And then there's an interview. So you do an interview with one of their community managers, community folks. And it's a pretty straightforward interview. It's not like a job interview. It's just talking about your background, talking about what you do, and talking about like how you show up in community, right? Because they're trying to build a community as well. It's not just about you moving here. They do a lot of activities. So for instance, Saturday, they all went to there was a big community event at the lake. And then Wednesday night, they had bought out a section for one of the soccer matches here. So there's always some community events. There's happy hours. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And so they ask you about how you show up with community and how community is important to you. And then after that, they let you know if you've been accepted or not. Once you're accepted, you have to verify your income. You do have to verify your income. I don't remember what the minimum income is. I want to say it's about $60,000 a year, I think. So they validate your income, and then they'll pay for you to come and visit too.
Oh,
so they pay for me. They'll reimburse you up to $500 for plane tickets and hotels. So I, made a visit to come just check the place out. Oh, and you also get a 1-year membership to a co-working space as well.
Nice.
Yeah. And we get a lot of discounts on things. Like there's discounts on apartments. Even my moving truck, not my moving truck. I paid movers to unload my truck when I got here. They gave me a special rate because I was with Tulsa Remote.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So you come do a visit, you get a reimbursement for that. And when you move, once you move, you do an orientation. And when I say immediately after your orientation, you start to get your money. So they give you a $3,000 up front. If you do it monthly, if you rent, they'll pay you monthly. You'll get $3,000 up front, and then you'll get, I think, $500 a month. If you purchase a house, once you provide your a copy of your deed, they will give you the full $10,000 at once. And they don't play. When I tell you my orientation was Monday, and the only reason why I didn't have my money the next day was because their team was, had the week off because they had been working their behinds off for a while. So they deserved the week off. But I got my money the very following Monday.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is actually pretty amazing. I had never heard of a program like this until you mentioned it on Instagram. And thank you for always being such a generous giver of information. So, but I did see an article the other day about all the other cities who were doing something like this too, and that Tulsa was one of the forefathers, one of the originators of this program. So it's cool. But I also want to talk about something that's specific to you that is not about Tulsa, but you also kind of finessed this in the way that you, without going too much into your business, purchased investment property in Tulsa, right?
Yeah. So the house I'm living in, the house I purchased, I plan for it to be an investment property. So like I said, I plan to rent it out when I move, or sooner. I may buy another place here and then rent this place out. But there's also a garage right in front of me, a detached garage. So a lot of houses here have detached garages that I plan to turn into a tiny house and put on Airbnb as well. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the plan. I plan to put that on Airbnb, and then, once I move out of this place, it'll be almost like duplexes, right? So I can rent the main house out, and I can rent that house out as well. So this is, I tell people, this is not my house. This is my property. They're like, how do you like the house? I like my property a lot, because I don't want to get attached to this place, and I don't want to start thinking about it as my own and then over personalize it. So I've got 3 big projects I'm doing to this place. One of them is I'm going to make the backyard a really dope hangout spot. The second is there's a half bathroom I'm going to add a shower to. And then the third is turning the garage into a tiny house. Because if I start to think about it as my house, then I'm going to start doing all the things that I personally want and not do things and not, maximize my investment to make it an investment property. So I think about it as my investment property. And so either I'll rent the main house out when I leave, or in a year when I leave, or I'll buy another property and just keep doing purchases to rent.
So that actually answers my next question, which was, do you see yourself in Tulsa for more than a year?
I don't know. So my original plan was, once my daughter graduated, to leave the country, because I actually didn't want to come back after our year abroad. I wanted to stay in Colombia. Me gusta Colombia. Mucho, mucho más. Me encanta Colombia. But my daughter wanted to come back to graduate high school.
Okay.
So I had to come on back. She wanted to graduate with her friends. And so again, I was like, well, when she graduates, I'm leaving. I'm leaving the country. I'm out. I'm going to get a home base, maybe in Chicago. And then I'm just going to travel indefinitely. I think that's probably still my plan. I'm glad that I made this pivot, because my daughter needs some more support, right? Teen is still in the word.
Yes, it is.
Teen is still in the word. And she just made the decision, I think last week, to enroll in cosmetology school, which she'll be done within a year. So that, puts us about at the same point. I'll be done with the program. She'll be done with that. And so I think right now, I'm not entirely sure, but my bet, if I had to bet on what I was going to do, it would probably be to leave the country. I do want to invest in some more properties here in Tulsa, because I believe it's going to grow as a city. And so hopefully within a year, I have at least 2 or 3. 5 would be a dream. And then I can just travel indefinitely.
Okay, that's awesome. If you haven't already, this is going to be in the comments. I will add it to the description of the video, but that's the link to Libry's post about getting paid to move. So if you want to look into Tulsa Remote, because the money is there and they give it.
And they give it. They don't play.
look at that. If Tulsa, if you're already, could I have people say like Tulsa, and I'm like, you can live anywhere for a year. Like
I
even
can
if
live
you
anywhere
don't
for a
love it,
year.
you can live
Anywhere.
anywhere for a year.
Yeah.
Get some investment property that you can rent it. Like you already have a place you can rent out while living there. Please, you can live anywhere for a year. If you can work remotely, because you don't even have to, like, you don't have to, you can leave Tulsa, right? You have to live there for a year.
Yeah, I'm actually planning to, before I got on this call, I actually, earlier when we were talking before we went live, I'm trying to figure out where I want to spend, the cold months, because I plan to leave when it gets cold. So probably November, January, February, I'll be in Mexico, or if the borders of Asia open up, which I doubt they will. I wouldn't let us in if I were them. I would go to Thailand or Vietnam for a month or so. And a couple of friends of mine and I are planning to do Portugal for a month in July. So I'm not required to be here. Like I don't have to physically be here every single day for a year. I have to be a resident for a year. I like it here. It reminds me a lot of my hometown, Tallahassee. I grew up in Tallahassee, Florida. And this place has the same like vibe and feel as Tallahassee did, like right before it really started growing. If you went to FAMU, hey Rattlers, if you went to FAMU or you lived in Tallahassee for any period of time, maybe you went to Florida State, that between like 97 and now it looks so different. Like Tallahassee has grown so much. Like I've even gotten lost driving around my hometown. Tulsa is right on the verge of that. And so I'm excited to be here. I like the city. Again, I love my hometown. So I like this place as well. But you don't have to physically be here for an entire year. I have a few months that I'm already planning to be away.
That is pretty awesome. I had, like I said, I'd never heard of this before you.
Yeah. And Sheeta, I wanted to mention that at the conference, there is a session called Where the Money Resides. And we have the COO of Tulsa Remote and some folks from some of the other programs that will be coming to speak about their programs as well. Okay. So there is a panel. I think it's day one. It is day one of the event I think it's at 11 o'clock, but it's on the schedule. And they're going to be talking about the cities and the states that are offering programs like this. And they'll be talking more about the program, like the why and how they build community and how they keep people connected. But yeah, people are definitely like, Tulsa, why are you going to Tulsa? All the time. But I grew up with that, right? So when I got to college, people were like, you grew up here in Tallahassee? Like, what did you do? What did you do growing up? And I was like, I did the same shit you did growing up in Atlanta and New York. Right. Went to basketball games, went to football games, went to the mall, went to the movies, like same stuff.
Same stuff. With
less traffic,
Let's see. There was a question I wanted to grab. Oh, I think this is a good one. Let's see. What type of work do you do at Tulsa Remote?
Yeah. So one thing to clarify, I don't work for Tulsa Remote, right? So Tulsa Remote incentivizes people who already have remote jobs to move and live here. The whole Tulsa Remote program, their goal is to infuse the economy here by bringing residents to the city. And their hope is that you invest, you buy houses, you spend money, you stay, right? That is their hope, of course. And worst case scenario, you stay for a year and you invest and add to the economy for a year. So if you're in Tulsa Remote, you already have a job. You already have a remote job. I work for the same company that I've worked for the last 3 years. The company I work for is named Amplify with an I, and we do software implementations. So I work for a technology company and I am not a technical person. That was the long answer to your question.
Thank you for sharing it, because I think that can be confusing. So Tulsa Remote gave you $10,000, invested $10,000 in your move. So you moved here, and whether you rented an apartment, rented a house, bought a house, whatever you did, lived in a shack out back, whatever you did, they gave you $10,000 just for moving here. Once you
live here for a year, they asked me to be a resident for a year, and in return, they gave me $10,000 and a free co-working space. But you had to have your own job.
That's amazing. I mean, because so many of us are like, we can work from anywhere, but Libryia is really showing us she can work from anywhere. Like Libryia said, where does the money reside? That's where I want to go. You can do a lot with $10,000, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I
it
did. I
is.
just bought a place. So,
Listen, amazing.
yup.
For those of us who aren't very familiar with Tulsa, do you mind speaking a little bit to the real estate market? You don't have to tell us how much your house costs, but like,
I don't
can
mind.
you?
My budget, I'll say this, my budget was 180 or less. I didn't want to spend more than 180.
Okay.
And so my options were limited to smaller houses. A lot of the houses are older in my price range. A lot of the houses are older, and they don't have the same number of bedrooms as bathrooms. Atlanta, we're used to, I mean, sprawling
Right.
estates, right? I just went from 2,700 square feet to 1,200 square feet. So huge
Okay.
change.
Yes.
But the real estate market here is not dissimilar to the real estate market everywhere right now, right? Everybody's buying, and it's a seller's market. So it's no different here. So prices are definitely inflated a bit. I don't know if they're going to stay. So inflated may not be the right word, but prices have definitely increased. I think they're starting to level off because there's not as much demand. But originally, about a year ago, the market started going crazy, partly because interest rates went down so far, right?
Mhm.
Interest rates got lowered so far. So everybody's like, oh, I have access to money. Let me go buy things. And the housing market just went crazy. So all the home prices went nuts. So I think, and one of my friends just bought a house, and her house is lovely. It's very beautiful, very big. I think she's got like 5 bedrooms, 2 stories, like huge backyard. It's crazy. So you've got everything from condos to older houses to, brand new builds. And she wanted a new build. That's what she wanted. But I'd say the market here is not separated from the market anywhere else. Prices are higher than normal, but they're still reasonable because we're not in a major city right now.
Okay. Lost in Space, to answer your question, yes, the replay will be available on YouTube. For everyone here, the chat sometimes takes a while to process. So after we end this chat, the live chat will go away for about a day, and then it'll pop back up tomorrow. But any comments you leave afterwards, yeah, it's YouTube. I don't know what they do. They make some magic happen in the background. So they come back, but they do go away. So if you try to come here and watch the chat, look at the live chat within 24 hours of it being live, I have not taken the chat away. I get messages about that sometimes. I have not taken the chat away. I have not disabled it. YouTube just takes a little while to get it back on. Okay.
I do want to address the other part of her comment. I feel like I'm so behind. Thank you. But the comment before, she said that she feels so behind and she missed opportunities. And yeah, you got to let that energy go, sis. Like, first of all, the time that's passed is gone. Like, we can't get it back. So there's no point in regretting it. There is no point in dwelling on the time that has passed. And I'm saying this because I have to tell myself this often, right? I think about my fitness goals. I used to be in really good shape, Rashida, like really, really good shape, like damn near competition ready. And I keep trying to get back to it. And I'll do good for like 2 months and then fall off. And then I'll think about it like, if I had done what I was supposed to do for the last 2 years, I'd look amazing right now. Right. For what I want. I'd look the way I want right now. Let me say it that way. I'd look the way I want. I'd be muscular and slim and all of that if I had done what I was supposed to do for the last 2 years. And then one day I was like, Liv, the last 2 years is gone. Like, you don't get to whine about or complain about it. But what you can do is go ahead and start prepping for 2 years from now. Like today, like everything that I'm thinking about I could have done 2 years ago, I can do it today. And then 2 years from now, I can be where I want to be, right? So the time that you missed, the time that's behind you, let that go and start looking at that as the time in front of you. Because as long as you are waking up every day, you've got an opportunity to do whatever it is you hope to do, right? You have the opportunity to start. So whatever it is you feel like you're behind on, go ahead and start getting ahead, right? Because you are ahead if we start thinking about 3 years from now or 5 years from now or a year from now or even a month from now. You are ahead today. You are ahead of a month from now today. So start thinking about those things. And you can, at any point in your life, change direction. At any point, you can change direction. You can always do something different. So today is the day. Lost in space, let's do it. What are we doing tomorrow? What are we doing a month from now? What are we doing a year from now? Because you're ahead. So start thinking about it like that. You are not behind. You are ahead. That's it.
And you have put it on your calendar, make the goals, right? Like, how many dates do you want to go on, right? How many jobs do you want to apply to?
Yeah.
Okay, I wonder what was it? Tell strategy. Oh, yeah, Lauren, it sounds like if you have residency there, that's what counts.
Yeah. So again, you don't have to be here every day. I mean, one of the girls, she's barely here. Like, she travels all the time. You don't have to be here every day. You travel, people travel for work. Again, it's just about you being a resident, right? It's about you having an address and being a resident here. So yeah, that would absolutely work. Do you, sis? Come through. Come through, Lauren. We'd love to have you in the Tulsa Remote program.
Is there any benefit to anyone to saying, like, I heard about it through Libryia, or no?
Nah, I don't have pull like that yet.
And you don't get any kind of referral, anything from this?
No, they don't do referral bonuses. They should. Because the girl that got me into it, that convinced me to do it, she is a salesman for Tulsa Remote. She's always convincing people to do it. But no, I get no benefit from you joining except for the fact that you get to be part of this community. That's a benefit to me.
All right. We have talked about working remotely. We have talked about Tulsa Remote. Libryia, what haven't we talked about? I feel like we've covered so many things.
Yeah, you know something? I'll drop a plug here for all the moms out there who love to travel. If you're not part of Wandering Moms, it's a beautiful community of over 21,000 women on Facebook. We have Instagram too, but we're not as, I'd say, active there. But a beautiful community full of moms who want to literally give their children the world. And we were doing trips every year. The last 2 years have been a little bit weird, but we provide education, information, and support for women who want to travel with their kids and without their kids as well. So head over to, if you're still on Facebook, if you still have a Facebook account, come and join the Wandering Moms crew.
I'm dropping the link for that in a second.
I keep trying to say I'm aging out of Wandering Moms, but I'm never not going to be a mom. So there's no such thing. I'm always going to be somebody's mama.
Yes. So I dropped the link to Wandering Moms, the Facebook group. Get on over there if you're a mom, because they are chock full of information. Let me get this up. All right.
Thank you.
Let's see. When you join the conference and purchase the highest ticket, how do you interact with the recruiters one-on-one online?
Yeah, so the software that we use is called Hopin. The platform that we use is called Hopin. And they have this really dope feature that's basically like speed networking. And so it's going to match tickets, right? It'll match tickets from the ticket type that you have versus the ticket type that recruiters and or speakers have. And you just click on networking and it'll put you in a room with a speaker or a recruiter. And the speakers are all HR professionals for the most part. And you'll get to talk to them for 5 minutes and then it'll move you on. If you also have the highest ticket level, if you match a job position that they are recruiting for, that our recruiters are recruiting for, there's going to be a 30-minute session where they will meet with people that match their job position that they can talk to, right? So the great thing about that is that's an opportunity for you to talk to recruiters with no pressure. It's not an interview. It's a group of people having a conversation about the company, the positions that they're hiring for, and the fact that you're a match. And the great thing is they know that you are a match already, right? So you get to have these conversations with these recruiters who've already been identified, who've already been told that you are a match for a position that they're hiring for. And so you almost get to have like an informal interview without the pressure of it being an interview.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So I told Libryia this question came in through Instagram, and I told her I was not going to ask her this question on the YouTube because we were going to keep it on topic. But my girl Jay asked a question on IG, and I guess because I hadn't asked it yet, she asked it again here. That's what happens when you try to get what you want multiple times, you get what you want. So here we go. What brand nail glue do you use for your press-on nails?
Okay, so I was a fan of this question. I just want to put it out there.
She was.
Partly because I'm down to talk about pretty much anything. There's really not much that's off limits for me. Ask me anything you want to ask. And it's relevant because when you on these Zoom calls doing hand gestures, you want to be cute, you know? Okay, so, and this also tells me that you follow me on Instagram because I just got acrylics for the first time in over 20 years over the weekend, and I shared it on my stories. But so I don't use a specific brand. I use whatever comes in the pack. And I wish I had some with me right now, but I usually buy press-on nails from, here's my spots. The beauty supply store, Clutch, Walmart, also Clutch, Target, and Ulta now has a really good, what is the word? Variety of press-on nails as well. I use whatever glue comes in the pack, and I rarely use it all. So I just, close it back up and save it. I don't buy a specific nail glue separately. It just comes with the nails.
You said Target. I'm writing this down, y'all, so you can't ever say I didn't do it to you. Walmart, Target, Ulta, and Beauty Supply, right?
Yep.
So you're not ordering. I have messaged Libryia about her nails before because they're so cute. You're not buying like the handcrafted nails that people are selling on Insta and the other side. You're buying them from just regular old stores.
They're like they're $5.99 at the beauty supply store, $5 to $6.99 at the beauty supply store. At like Target, Ulta, they're usually about $8 or $9.99.
Okay,
they're super inexpensive, and it's so funny because I know all of us tried to wear press-on nails, back in the early '90s, right? And they were whack. Remember the Lee press-on nails? That's what they were. Lee press-on nails. They were whack. These are a lot better. Like the nail glue is a lot better. Just, I'd also implore you to take care of your nails underneath those. Just like, wearing wigs and weaves, like you got to also take care of your hair and your scalp. Because the glue can ruin your nails. So just be careful.
I glued these on about 15 minutes before our call started.
And that's what I love about it, right? Like it's no pressure, no stress. Like I can just do this in 5 minutes. I can do this in 10 minutes and keep it moving. And if they come off in a week, like I don't care. It took me 5 minutes to put this on.
Yes. Okay. So I think now is the time. Now is the time. Let me figure out how to do this. We're going to give away 2 tickets because y'all came through. Let me double check. See how much, if y'all came through. Yep, y'all came through. We're doing 2 tickets to the Quit Commuting Conference. Let me get here, and I'm doing too many things at once, y'all. Give me a second. Okay.
I'm excited about this giveaway because I feel like there's always people that, really want to go and may not be able to, purchase the ticket for whatever reason. Like, and so getting that gift, and I always want to win something. I like never win things. So I'm always excited when people win things.
Okay. So, I'm going to give away 2 tickets, and here's how we're going to do this. Give me a second. Let me share my screen so you guys can see what you get from the ticket. So to Libryia's point, it's awesome to win things. Awesome to win things. But if you don't need to win a ticket, if you can afford to send yourself, I'm going to ask that you don't enter this giveaway and you leave it for people who could otherwise not afford to get it. So what you get for $50, Libryia, you tell us what you get in this full access pass. You'll explain it better.
Okay. So full access pass, you're going to get obviously access to the event, the job fair, and the job fair is all day. So
okay, so I'm gonna keep going because I think we might have lost Lib for a second, but I think she'll be back. I'm just gonna read y'all what the screen says because that's all I got. Okay, event access. access to the job fair, conference workbook, access to session replays, free remote ready bundle, which a lot of you have been in the comments talking about how great the bundle is, and one-on-one recruiter networking. Y'all, I can't speak to exactly what that is, but it sounds good. So going ahead, if you want it, now is the time. Let me figure out how I'm doing this. Okay. How I'm going to give it away. If you want this bundle, all right, Libryia, I'm giving it away now. If you want this bundle, send me a message on Instagram. The first 2 people who I get a message from on Instagram get the bundle. So of course, the people who already follow me have a head start. If you don't already follow me, you should be. I am at Sheeta D on Instagram. Sheeta D on Instagram. Shoot me a message. Tell me you want it. It's yours.
Oh, I love it. You're so sweet for doing that.
Listen, people like I come in contact with a lot of people online, and sometimes I'm like, you seem a little, I don't know, I can trust you with my people. I trust Libryia with my people. So if Libryia says this is the event, this is a good event, you want to be at this event, I want y'all to be at this event. And so we're doing the giveaway. And y'all came through for your sister friends and donated money. So we're doing not 1 giveaway, but 2. So the first 2 people, my Instagram is opening slowly because I have a bunch of windows open. I'm going to close now and see if we can get that going. But I'm super excited about this, about the conference, right? Like it offers so much to people. And so if you don't win, still buy a ticket, right? Like,
come through.
Still buy a ticket. Come through. If you want a remote job, you have to take action to get a remote job. And this is one of those actions. All right. I have 7 messages it's saying. Let's see. Cha.
7 messages. Oh. Somebody's going to win. Somebody's going to win.
Let me see. Okay. So it looks like, I'm trying to make sure she's actually applying. Janefa is one of the people. Yay, Janefa.
Congratulations, Janefa. I can't wait to see you at the conference.
The other one, let me see, is SR. So I will message you too. So that's ESS_R. 2 winners, 1 from my message request and 1 from my actual inbox. So yay. 2 people. Y'all got it.
Man, I hope something one day.
Listen, I love winning. This is me and Exodus Summit. I love giving away things. Oh, shoot. Okay, so if you're not already signed up for Exodus Homecoming, I'm giving away something there too. You get a gift box if you sign up for the accelerated program by by August 15th. You get a gift box sent from Stephanie and I, with love, because we love giving away things. I'm like, giveaways, please and thank you. But once again, I am not Oprah. I can't give it all away. Nobody's getting a car, but I give away what I can. And you guys really came through today. So I appreciate that. I will figure out how to get you. I haven't talked to Libryia about this, so I don't know how we're going to get you guys registration, but we'll take care of that for you. We'll figure something out. And I'll get you information starting with your email address. I'll message you to who won. Thank you to everyone who donated today. We really, really appreciate it. I'm sure the winners do. And thank you to everyone who stayed with us for 2 hours. That's amazing. If you haven't subscribed already, come through. Subscribe. Come on down.
Subscribe.
Come on down.
Subscribe. Come on down. Come
Come
on
on
down.
down.
This is so much
Subscribe.
fun.
Press like on the video. Press the like button.
Oh
Subscribe.
my
Let
God.
YouTube
Go
know
ahead
you
and
need
do it.
more of this. Yes, yes. All right, what were you saying, Libryia? I missed that. Sorry, babe.
I was just about to say, I didn't realize that I could see the comments, and I'm just going through them. And God, you guys have the best comments. I love that like people in the comments are giving each other pep talks too.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Encourage each other. Yes, that's what you do. I love it. I love
Yes.
a sisterhood. God, I love a sisterhood so
yes.
much.
They Sunday mornings we come here and we do this, and they're amazing, and they donate, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
Okay, so last question, which I think takes us back to our first question. We're going to end this now because we're already at 2 hours, and y'all, my introverted self has about 2 hours to give, and then I got to tap out.
Also, I got to go brunch. Like,
well,
Tulsa, so there's a subgroup in Tulsa Remote called Black in Tulsa.
Okay.
And so we're all getting, not all the Blacks, but we're getting together for brunch today. About 10 of us are getting together for brunch today.
Nice.
There's definitely more than 10 Black folks in Tulsa Remote program.
Okay.
But
last question, and then we're done. You answered this in the beginning, right? Like,
I didn't answer this for retail specifically, but yes, if you can do it. So funny enough, retail is the example that I use in one of the videos in the Remote Ready bundle. I specifically talked about retail and how you can, there's a module in the Remote Ready bundle in that course about transitioning from physical work to remote work. Because some jobs are very physical, right? Some jobs are traditionally physical, truck driving, retail and things like that. So what I'd say, and I feel like this is what I said in that video, if you have not had the course, please go grab it, is that, so you've got to start thinking about other ways that those skills can be used. And so there are a lot of companies that have moved to online shopping, right? There's so many online stores. Online retail is a huge thing right now. If you have not seen Shopify's stock soar in the last year, then, I mean, it's because so many people are building, online retail stores. And so there's so many opportunities for you to look at online retailers and find out what positions they are hiring for. And there are online retailers that are hiring for online positions. And the fact that you have retail experience is definitely beneficial to you, even if you're moving into a different position type, right? So I'd say that start looking for online retailers and work there. The second thing I call out is, start thinking about how you can be a consultant, right? Because as a person who has retail experience, you can consult people who want to build retail businesses, right? So maybe you're really good at merchandising, right? Maybe you're really good at specific things that are related to retail, and you can start consulting and freelancing on your own. The third thing I call out is, it doesn't have to be retail. What was your job in retail? Was your job as a manager or supervisor? Because those are skills that are transferable a number of places. There's customer service embedded in retail. There's resourcing embedded in retail. There's bookkeeping embedded in retail. There's scheduling embedded in retail. So start to look for positions that are remote that lean on the experience that you had in retail. Okay, consider that. And the last thing I throw out there is there's also the opportunity to learn new skills. I think people miss that too. Like, we live in an environment where right now you can learn almost anything for free or inexpensively, right? So before we went on our year abroad, this one woman took some developer classes and learned to code and got remote jobs as a coder, as a developer. Not telling you go be a developer. Again, I'm not going to lean heavy towards tech. In fact, I talk about technology positions the least. That's the least thing I ever talk about. But there's so many options to learn: digital marketing, design, how to use Excel, how to use project management software and be a project manager. So another option is to learn a new skill and layer your retail skills on top of that. So a lot of things I just said there. To sum it up, look for online retail opportunities. Look for the opportunities to freelance and consult using your retail experience. The third is lean on some of the other experience that's embedded in your retail experience, right? And then the fourth thing I said was consider learning a new skill to add to your toolkit. Yeah.
Okay, wrapping it up, saying goodbye. Libry's got to eat. but I'm responding to a comment now that there are a few people asking if this type of job or that type of job is
Yeah.
available at a conference. And what I'm saying, what I'm writing is, you can see the jobs available at the bottom of a Quit Commuting page, but you'll be updating. It'll be updated soon with more jobs.
Yeah. I'll also say the resources that I share in general, as Sheeta said, I'm a sharer. I am always sharing something, right? And the resources that I share in the free guide, the resources that I share in the remote ready bundle are agnostic of your job type. People always ask me, is there a job in this field? Is there a job for this age group? Is there a job for this location? Yes. Nothing that I share is specific to your job, your age, your location. These places that you go to find jobs have things that are available all across the board, right? So the resources that I share are agnostic. Please go and utilize them.
Okay. I want to thank Libryia for being my guest today and talking to us for 2 hours with free advice that she could have charged. Like, we should have paid for the advice we got today. Thankfully, she didn't charge me for her time, but we got so much game today about not slanging stale resumes, about what we need to do to get out there and get jobs, about places we can go get them. If you haven't signed up for her free guide, go do that now. The link is in the chat. If it'll go away soon, but it'll be back. And if it's not in the description already, I'll put it there in the next hour or so. Get her free guide. If you get her free guide, you'll be on our mailing list. If you're on our mailing list, you'll know about the academy that's coming, and you'll get all the information like price points, etc.
Yep.
If you want a remote job, you have to do the work to get a remote job. And if you want a remote job in 2 months, you should have been starting that work a month ago, right? So start today, start tomorrow, but don't wait another 3 months and then go through a 90-day hiring process. That's not what we're doing. We're starting today. Even if all you have the capacity for today is to download Libryia's free guide, let that be the thing you do, right? Like, let that be the thing you do today. And then don't just download it. What do you need to do? You got to get in there. You got to read it. You got to follow the instructions. Follow the instructions. Get yourself a job you love, or at least tolerate more than the job you have right now. A job where you can,
Listen,
a job
if
where you
you
can
don't
work
love
from
it,
anywhere.
if you don't love it, you may as well be able to do it from the beach. You know what I'm
Right?
saying?
If you don't love it, do it with a margarita in your hand, please.
Yeah.
Please.
You may as well.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Once again, this was a really hard one for me to wrap up. I told Libryia that we were not going to go 2 hours. We were not going to do it. And here we are, and I don't want to let her go. I'm like, I don't want to let her go. So Libryia will be back on my channel.
Sure, absolutely.
Soon. I don't know what soon means, because it's definitely not before the conference, which is in 2 weeks.
It's in less than 2 weeks at this point.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But sometime soon I'm gonna have Libryia back, because y'all love her. I love her. This was great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I had a great time. Great time.
Good. And thanks everyone for showing up. Bye.